everyone, this is Sudeshna from The Abundant Psyche, and you are listening to the Not So Corporate podcast. Here we talk about all of the not so corporate things that we corporate entrepreneurs do within and outside of corporate life. And today I have with me my friend, my colleague, my mentor, Monique Ruff-Bell.
Monique, welcome to the show.
Oh, Sudeshna, thank you so much for having me. We're about to have a spicy conversation. I'm so excited.
We are going to have a conversation in the real unboring Money 2020 way.
Yeah, it'll definitely be boring. I don't do anything boring. So I'm looking forward to us really getting into the weeds of coaching and mentorship and things like that. So I'm happy to be here.
Monique, I have been a mentee of yours for some time now. You have, in fact, been an inspiration for me to talk about all of these things quite openly. I was, to be fair, a bit afraid and reluctant of sharing my personal development piece alongside my very, very technical data science piece. So thank you for that. And thank you for agreeing to be on the show. How did you get interested and how did you start coaching and mentoring people?
I think because I strive to be my authentic self. The Monique that I bring to work is the Monique that is around my family. It's the Monique that I'm with my friends. It's the same personality. And it was a journey to kind of get to that because everyone starts out hiding bits of themselves or not necessarily being comfortable with sharing their full self. And that to me, that took a lot more energy to hide me because as you can see, I have a little bit of a boisterous personality and I'm kind of a little bit out there and stuff like that. So it took more work to keep that bottled in than it was to just be myself. So when I came to the realization, you're going to get all of me and, I'm going to be a very hard worker. I'm going to be very impactful with my job, but you're going to have to deal a little bit with this boisterous personality. And, it didn't stop anything. I just kept going. So I wanted to support other people, men and women, in them becoming more of their authentic self, because I really do feel that that's more of a motivator and helpful to their career growth than it is a hindrance. And so thank you for saying all those wonderful things. I've seen your growth. I'm super happy that you're starting to feel more comfortable and, bringing your authentic self more to work and all of that good stuff, because it's a good you. And so we should be able to see all of you.
I'm glad you like the new me. But Monique, the coachy becomes the coach. You are not boisterous. You're
You don't
confident.
think so?
You're energetic. You're not boisterous.
I like that description. Okay. I'm energetic. I like that better. That's right.
There
Bringing
you
some
go.
good energy to the table.
There you go. Tell me a bit more about what are the specific things that you help other mentees with.
Yeah, so I'm all about helping my mentees be more strategic about their career. I think people don't talk enough about that when you get out of school, that you just don't let certain things happen to you, or that you have these expectations that you're going to be like discovered. Everyone is going to see this fabulous job that you do, and promotions and money is going to be raining down on you. And you didn't put any hard, other than just doing your regular day job and putting work into that, you weren't very thoughtful or mindful about certain strategic just decisions that you need to make in order to move your career forward. And so that was a big mistake for me. And then one day I pretty much realized all of my hard work wasn't doing anything but getting me more work. To be honest, it wasn't this utopia of people noticing how great I was doing and how much I cared and how much hours I was putting in extra in the day to do my job, because all they saw was the end results and great, good job. That's what you get paid for. So that's what, I was getting out of it. And so once I decided that I needed to make certain power moves, build certain relationships, grow certain networks, have certain conversations, putting more stuff out there to the people who could help me move up within my career. That's when it clicked for me. That's when it happened. That's what things started to move. I knew where I wanted to get to, and I started to make decisions that supported the end goal for me. And when I say end goal, it's the end goal for me now. But, I have the right to change my mind and have a different end goal eventually. But for me, for right now, I have been very strategic about the positions, the decisions that I've made that's going to get me there. And so what I coach other of my mentees to do is to think like that. Don't think just because you got a college education and you got a job, that's all you need to do. There's other things you need to think about. How are you going to create the best allies within your corporation, your organization, as well as outside of your organization? Who's going to be a part of your advisory board? Because you don't know what you don't know. So you're definitely going to need to have conversations with people to help you move forward in that, in your thought process. What are you going to do with your next job? Like if you're trying to, what's the goal that you're trying to get to? Are you just taking jobs just to be having jobs? Or are you going to be really focused on where you're trying to get to and making the right decisions that's going to help you get there? It's deeper than just showing up to work. And that's what I have my mentees think about. Think about something that's deeper than just that.
That's amazing. There's so much to unpick there. So I'll just start with one bit. How did the shift happen for you?
Such a good question. So I love to tell this story because to me, it's like a good story. It was a game changer for me. So I've been in events, running events for over 20 years. In 2012, I was doing a bunch of jobs. So I was a marketing manager in events. I've been an operations manager. I've been a meeting planner. I've done a content programmer. I was just doing a whole bunch of things within events, working really hard, putting a lot of dedication and effort, caring a lot, but I was still staying at one particular level. I wasn't really moving up. And then I got this job where I went to one of our sister brands, which is Cannes Lions. I actually, with one of a previous job, got to go there and put on a program there for some clients. And when I got there, I was like, man, this is not like a regular event. This is fun, experiential, different, crazy, exciting, and large, all of these people. And I was like, man, I want to do this. And how do you get to do this? Because I didn't know. How do I get a job doing this? Because what I do is, not on this particular level. And so then I took a step back and I said, I can do that. And I really thought about it, and I started to do research and figuring out, start looking at people, because I think that's when LinkedIn started to really become a thing, not a big thing, but a thing where you can kind of peek at other people's pages and see where they've been and what they were doing, and kind of seeing what type of jobs they had, what type of experience they had or whatever. And I started putting like a manifesto of stuff together for myself. And I was like, okay, I got that. I don't have that. I need that. Where I can get that. And so then I started to figure out I need a sponsor, because I don't have people who right now currently can open those doors, introduce me, or get me into those organizations that's going to get that. So I started to become very conscious of figuring out who can be my sponsor and really figuring out how it was going to be a mutual beneficial relationship. Because remember, when you're looking for mentor sponsors, they're investing a lot of time in you, and you have to make it worth their while to do that. So I was looking for someone where I can make sure that I'm going to make that person life a little bit easier, and I can kind of be helpful to them in the same way that they were going to be helpful to me. And that's exactly what I did. And I found a person who was a great sponsor for me. And every time he moved to a different job, he would take me with him. And so and every time he was going, I was like, okay, great. I'll go to that job, but I need to be managing this and this, or I need to learn this and this, or I need to be more involved in this and this. And each job he would do that. And so I'm moving up in salary, I'm moving up in responsibility, I'm learning different things. I was nurtured, and, he definitely brought me to the table when he didn't have to, when it was dealing with C-suite and senior management. And it was a game changer for me, because I always asked for what I wanted. Every time. I just didn't let it happen, or I thought, I'll figure it out once I get there. No, I knew what I wanted, and I was very clear. And then I made sure that it was mutually beneficial for you to be helpful with me for this. This is what I'm going to do to help make a program better, or help take off this responsibility off your back, so you don't have to think about it. I'll think about it more in that way, and we'll play our positions correctly, and it worked. And then when it was done with, he was moving on to another job, and I was like, I don't need to do that anymore. I think I'm a whole person now, that I can kind of do what I really wanted to do. And that's when Money 2020 came up for me. So it worked out.
Awesome. So, when you talk about the next goal, I love that because it's so intentional rather than,
Yes.
hoping and praying that I get promoted. Sometimes a promotion is not the right thing for your career either, right? Like if you get promoted into, I talk about this often, that if you get promoted into a head of sales role, but you actually wanted to be, I don't know, a data person,
Yeah.
that's not going to help,
No,
right?
you're going to be
uh,
miserable.
exactly. So how did you know where you wanted to go? Because when we talk about the end goal, it
Hmm.
sounds very heavy and very, this is what I want to do by the end of my life. So how did you know what you wanted?
I knew what I wanted to do because I enjoyed the industry that I was in. So I knew I wanted to stay in the industry. I did not know what I didn't know until I went to that big event and I saw what was kind of happening all around me. And I wanted to play a part in helping consumers and clients and stuff like that have that same experience within my industry. So it was divine timing that
Mhm.
kind of helped me decide, like, this is what I wanted to do. And then I got intentional about how I was going to get there. So that's the part where I knew I wanted to stay in the industry. I knew I wanted to run a, a large program. And what does it take to get there? Well, I had to go figure out who those people were doing that. And like I said, I was looking in their background, and I kind of created a checklist for myself because, if you're going to be running something of that size, you have to understand how P&Ls work and P&L management of that size. Well, where I was at that time, I had never even seen a P&L. I seen a P&L as in just from an ops standpoint, but not like a whole, every part of a cost revenue basis standpoint that I have. So I said, I need to know what that looks like. I need to know how to speak to something like that. I knew that I was going to be dealing with a lot of clients that were from the top Fortune 500, 100, 1000 companies, and talking to C-suite. I needed to know how to talk to them and figure out how to have those type of conversations that were going to move the needle. I was also already sales commercially minded in my other positions, but I needed to get way more involved in that because what drives the event programs is specs revenues, sponsorship revenue, those types of sales. And if you're going to be doing an event of that size, you're going to have to be doing large deals. And so how could I play a part in that unless I knew what were the needs of that? So I needed to figure out how to play with the big boys and understand the language of that type of stuff. So it was very intentional that I think one of my skills that I feel I have a skill is I can see a plan from A to Z. I'm just not a big picture person. I'm a detail oriented, task list type person. So I can always say, I'm trying to get to the yellow brick road, but I have to take all of these other steps before I can get there. And that's how my mind works anyway. And then I made sure that I put thought, effort, time, and energy into working those steps.
Right. I love it. And if I just go one step further with your corporate journey, it's been 20 years, you have been in corporate for a long, long time. And I know we were talking about this the other day about corporate politics and how do you navigate that and still make sure that you are growing in the areas that you want to grow, because politics is quite a loaded word. No one likes to talk about politics. Can I ask you, Monique, what does politics mean to you in the corporate?
Well, it's a really good question. As a matter of fact, I do mentor a lot of people, and I started a YouTube channel called Everyday Career Coach. on YouTube that you can go in, and I just recorded a video on how to deal with office politics. So this is a timely topic. So what I say is that in any corporate or work environment, even to the smallest mom and pop shop, there is politics. There is people who get noticed. There are people who have the ability to be influencers. There are people who have the ability to be saboteurs. And there are certain things that, unless you are in the know, you will be surprised instead of prepared for certain situations or issues that might come down the pike. So in order for you to be prepared instead of surprised, I always say these are the three things you need to do in a corporate environment, because some people like, I don't want to do all of this. I just want to go to work, do my job, and then I get to go home and that's it. And they're missing a whole lot of stuff that's happening around them, swirling around them, because they're not paying attention. So I always say, listen, watch, and learn. First of all, understand the environment that you're in, because if you see that there's always these particular go-to people, or you see that these people are the influencers or whatever, listen to what they're saying. Listen to how they're coming across. Watch when they decide to pop up out of the blue about something or whatever. You have to pay attention. You have to see the type of conversations that are going around. And when people are listening to this person, what are they caring about? What are the questions that they're asking? Become that fly on the wall. Don't ignore. Watch what's happening around you. And then when I say learn, you have to I'm not saying you have to 100% mimic what that person is doing, but you have to pull out the nuggets of what is happening and how are they becoming influencers to decision makers. What are they doing that's in a positive way? Because I always say avoid negative politics. It never works out for people. Even the people that you think it's going to work out for, they literally eventually will crash and burn. So don't do what they do. Don't feed in. Don't become the gossiper. Don't become the problem maker, the problem child in the organization. It's not worth it. If you feel like you're in a space where it's more negative than positive, leave. Get another job, move on. You shouldn't be anywhere that's draining your energy. If it is, that's not the right space for you. And there's all the signs telling you that's not the right space for you. Listen and go about your business and leave. But if you see that there's particular people who do have influence, listen, watch, and learn from them and see how are they expressing things that are becoming very sticky with those bosses or those decision makers? What are the topics that they continually love to bring up and talk about? How are they building relationships? Because, you might not be comfortable in reaching out to someone, but sometimes it's just making sure that they know you exist. And it's like asking a question. Like, people don't mind answering questions. So like, if you want to understand where the business is going and what's happening, you could just ask a simple question, and that person will appreciate that you actually look at them as some type of authority figure or the person that would have the answers, and they will probably share it with you. But that's a strategic mindset to say, I'm going to make sure I get on this person's radar. I'm going to make sure that quarterly or monthly or something like that, they're going to see who I am, and they're going to want to connect with me. And I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to be in your face about it, but I'm going to make sure that they know who I am. And so that's how I look at office politics. That's how I learned a lot from watching other people and kind of being a fly on the wall at times, because, some people are so involved in themselves, they don't even notice that you're right there. And I got a lot of great tips and tricks and techniques from listening, watching, and learning from those influencers.
Amazing. So Monique has a really, really unique leadership style that I'm just amazed by. So quite a lot of people, when they go to events, they don't realize how much work organizing a big event is. And if anyone has been to the Money 2020 Vegas show, you know what scale I'm talking about. But Monique has this unique way of keeping people, the staff, upbeat and engaged, because when we are in show, we are just flat out. Monique, tell me a bit more about your leadership style. Like, I used to, wake up half an hour early just to be there for your, uh,
Just for that
just for that
part.
part.
Yes. So I'm all about motivation, right? And when you're doing anything of scale, anything that takes a lot of your energy or whatever, you get less motivated. You get tired, you get drained. And then when you're dealing with people in the public, everything is not always happy go lucky and people are nice and stuff like that. And so you always have to put on your best smile, your best face to solve a problem that could probably, and they're yelling at you or they're upset or something like that. So I always thought about what helps to keep me motivated when I'm going through something that is draining or is taking a lot of my energy, and that's music. And so what I started to do with the full staff, and I'm talking about 100 people in a room when we're about to kick off for the event, is I created something called Song of the Day. And so, I do my little spiel to get everybody all pumped about tackling the day. It's like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. You're about to be doing stuff for about 14 hours. You need something that's going to keep you motivated. And so music motivates me. There's certain songs where I just get really energized and I'm upbeat and I can keep going even when it's just a lot of stuff coming at me. And I wanted the staff to feel the same way. I wanted the team to feel that same way. And so every day I pick a song of the day. And I always say, if you feel like you need to go in a corner and cry, or you're just tired, or you need a break, put on your earphones, listen to this song, let it pump you up, and let's get back to killing it and doing well for our day and getting things accomplished and stuff like that. And so it's become a thing. Like, people talk about it when they even leave after the event, and they talk to their other team members, or they're in different brands or different departments, and they loved it. And it does for them what it does for me. And that's just, you have to use other tools other than just your words to keep you motivated, and music is a great tool to kind of get you pumped up.
Love that. So you have this channel, Everyday Career Coach, on YouTube.
I do.
What is your plan with that? Do you coach other people? Do you mentor other people outside of Essential? Tell us a bit more about that.
I do. And so, I've come across a lot of people, and they've seen me either speak, they've worked with me before, they work with me now. They feel I have this confidence about myself. They want to know how they get to build that too, and feel comfortable in their skin, and that they're making strategic decisions that are going to catapult them forward in their career. So I get people inside, outside who ask me to mentor, and I do mentor people who are inside and outside of my organization. And I enjoy it, but I'm not about wasting my time. So when I'm talking to them, I'm really trying to suss out if they're serious about putting in the time and effort that they want to put into their career, if they're willing to not necessarily listen to me, but understand that there's other ways to think about things, and that they're open and flexible to listening to other advice. I don't only just give them the advice. I say you need to build yourself a network of people. So I say, well, who are the people you're talking to from this? Who are your allies within the company that you're starting to build relationships with? What does your network look like? Like, there's work that needs to be done. And then I say, look, you have all of the right to change your mind about where you're trying to get to, but who you are in the present, what does the future looks like? Now, next week, you're going to be a different person in a new present with probably a different future. But right now, you need a little bit more clarity so that at least you can make decisions that's going to set you on the right course. So I need you to think things through, and then I follow up with them about that and what they did and think about it. So it's not just about us having a friendly cup of coffee. Like, it's about us being strategic and having those conversations, and then the mentee putting in the work and hopefully seeing the results, which from everyone that I've been mentoring, they feel like they do see results. So something's happening.
Absolutely. You are great at what you do. And I so agree with the fact that you don't have to necessarily know where you are ultimately going to go. You just
No.
need to know the next step, because you can change your mind. And that is just so liberating. I remember an earlier conversation we had, Monique, when you said, well, who knows, 20 years down the line, I might want to be a shaman in the mountains. And I was like, are you me? So totally, totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, because who you were at 21 is not who you are at 30, and it's not who you are at 40. Like, I thought my life would be different when I was 21, and now I'm 43, right? So it's different, but it's okay. I'm fine with it being different. I'm fine with growth, and I'm fine with understanding that as long as I'm putting positive steps in front of me and making positive moves for myself, I can't go wrong. No matter if I have to pivot to a whole new different direction, I'm enjoying the ride. And that's the result. That's the end game, really, is to enjoy the ride while you're still here and you're still breathing, because everybody ain't able and everybody don't stay around as long. So I'm going to try to enjoy this as long as I can.
Oh my goodness, I love this. Like, that is what people miss, that, you are so fixated on getting to the destination as fast as you can that we miss the enjoyment in the ride. And what you are
Exactly.
saying is actually it's about enjoying the ride, not really about getting to an end destination. Because um, I suppose for most of our listeners of this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
we are already in a good enough place. We are already lucky to have internet and, meals a day, food a day. So yeah, it is really being grateful and also enjoying the ride.
Yeah,
And
because it's
also,
never going to end.
yeah,
Because it's always going to be something. Like, even if you reach the pinnacle of what you've been working 20 years to get to, then you're going to retire. And then what's the next step for you? It's going to always be another step. So you have to understand that it's never going to be done. It's never going to be static and over. And so if you know that, why are you going to get fixated on the end results? You got to enjoy the pivots and the turns and stuff like that, and making sure that they're positive experiences, because then it doesn't matter when the end result comes. End result is death. That's the end result.
oh my goodness, like I'm laughing because, so many times I keep telling people, and I keep thinking to myself that, I want to take the path of least regrets, because
Mm-hmm.
there's one thing that's certain, that's death. We
It
can be
is.
morbid about it, but
It's the truth.
actually, it's the truth. And the only way I can optimize and strategize for my life is knowing that I have taken the path of least regrets, so that at
Yes.
death, I'm not like, oh my God, would life have been different if I did not take that job or did quit earlier, or whatever, right? Like, whatever that decision is.
Like what if you you went to school to be an accountant, you spent your last 25 years being an accountant, and you hated every moment of it, but because you went to school and you put all this money and you got these loans and stuff like that, you stuck to it, and then you retire at 65, and then the next day you're done, like your life is over, like you wasted all that time, and why? Who told you have to do it that way?
Yeah.
So it's really like you got to make up your own destiny, your own path, your own mind, and you have to be comfortable with knowing that things are going to change, and it's okay, because life is about change. And so enjoy the ride, since it's going to be a bumpy one.
I love that. And exactly like you said, like, if you have lost the money, you have lost the money. Don't lose the time.
Yeah, exactly. You can rebuild the money. You can rebuild it. You can come back from almost anything, but you can't come back from regret.
One last question for you, Monique.
Yes.
What's your song of the day for our listeners?
Oh man, I wasn't prepared for this one. Leave the Door Open, which is with Anderson Paak and Bruno Mars. that just came out. And, you might not think that song necessarily should relate to the people or whatever, but Leave the Door Open is, for me, I'm taking it as leave the door open to great and wonderful and different and fun opportunities for you. So keep the door open from your mind, and look at it from that way. But it is a killer song. I love that song. The beat is like, it keeps you like, wow, I love it. So that's my song of the day for your listeners.
Amazing. On that note, Monique, if people want to get in touch with you, where can they find you?
Just find me on YouTube, Everyday Career Coach, or find me on LinkedIn and send me a message, Monique Ruff-Bell. I've built a great network of people because we've connected via different avenues and stuff like that. So I'm just open to it. But, care about yourself enough that you want to be strategic about how you live your life, but you're flexible about change.
Amazing. Love that insight. And for all of you who have been with us till now, thank you. Share this out with your friends because I think we dropped quite a few truth bombs there.
I think we did. We got a little
And
bit morbid, but we got back on track.
yeah, share this out with your friends, like, subscribe, and I'll see you the next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.